A technical interview for freshers is one of the most important stages in the hiring process for engineering, IT, or software-related roles. Unlike general interviews that test communication and personality, technical interviews focus on problem-solving, subject knowledge, and logical reasoning. However, even without professional experience, candidates can perform well by preparing the fundamentals, practicing coding or core concepts, and showing a logical approach to problem-solving. This guide covers common technical interview questions for freshers, along with sample answers and useful tips. Whether you are from computer science, electronics, or any other technical background, these examples will help you understand how to structure your responses confidently and clearly. Understanding the purpose of a technical interview. A technical interview aims to assess your grasp of technical subjects, your approach to solving problems, and how you apply knowledge in real-life scenarios. Employers don't just test what you know, they evaluate how you think. Even if you lack hands-on experience, your ability to explain concepts, write basic code, and show eagerness to learn can make a lasting impression. Common topics may include programming languages like C, C++, Java, or Python, data structures, algorithms, databases, and sometimes logical or aptitude-based questions. The key is to stay calm, reason through your answers, and show that you understand the principles behind your solutions. Question 1. Can you tell us about yourself and your technical background? Here's how you can answer. I recently graduated with a degree in computer science. During my coursework, I focused on programming, database management, and web development. I've completed small academic projects where I applied these skills, and I'm now looking for an opportunity to apply my knowledge in a practical environment while learning from experienced professionals. Tip: highlight your education, relevant coursework, and projects rather than unrelated personal details. Question 2. What programming languages are you most comfortable with? Here's how you can answer. I'm most comfortable with Python and C++. I used Python for scripting and data analysis in my college projects and C++ for solving algorithmic problems. I can also learn other languages quickly if needed for the role. Tip: mention the languages you actually know and add examples of where you've used them. Question 3. Explain the difference between object-oriented and procedural programming. Here's how you can answer. In procedural programming, the focus is on functions or procedures that operate on data, like in C. In object-oriented programming, like in Java or C++, the focus is on objects, data, and functions bundled together. OP promotes modularity, reusability, and easier maintenance. Tip: keep explanations clear and concise, showing conceptual understanding rather than memorized definitions. Question 4. What are data structures, and why are they important? Here's how you can answer. Data structures are organized ways to store and manage data efficiently. They're important because the right data structure makes it easier to perform operations like searching, sorting, and updating. Common examples include arrays, linked lists, stacks, queues, trees, and hash maps. Tip: if asked further, give a simple real-world example, like using a queue for managing print jobs. Question 5. Can you explain what a database is and how it works? Here's how you can answer. A database is an organized collection of data stored electronically. It allows users to efficiently store, retrieve, and manage information. Using a database management system like MySQL or Oracle, we can query data using SQL commands such as select, insert, and update. Tip: mention 1 or 2 tools you've practiced, such as MySQL or PostgreSQL, to add credibility. Question 6. What is the difference between compilation and interpretation? Here's how you can answer. A compiler translates the entire source code into machine code before execution, like in C or C++. An interpreter translates and executes code line by line, like in Python. Compiled programs generally run faster, while interpreted ones are easier to debug. Tip: simple comparisons help you explain concepts efficiently. Question 7. Can you explain what version control is and why it's used? Here's how you can answer. Version control systems like Git track changes made to files or code bases. They allow multiple developers to work on the same project simultaneously, manage versions, and revert to earlier stages if needed. It ensures collaboration and reduces the risk of losing work. Tip: if you've used GitHub or Bitbucket, mention it briefly to show familiarity with tools. Question 8. How do you approach solving a technical problem you've never seen before? Here's how you can answer. I start by breaking the problem into smaller parts to understand what's being asked. I analyze inputs and expected outputs, then plan the logic step by step. If needed, I refer to documentation or reliable sources. I test the solution on simple cases first before finalizing it. Tip: demonstrate logical thinking and structured problem solving, not panic or guesswork. Question 9. What is the difference between primary key and foreign key in databases? Here's how you can answer. A primary key uniquely identifies each record in a table, while a foreign key links one table to another by referencing the primary key of another table. For example, a customer ID in the orders table can act as a foreign key connecting to the customer's table. Tip: if possible, use a simple relational example to make your explanation clear. Question 10. What is normalization in databases? Here's how you can answer. Normalization is the process of organizing data in a database to reduce redundancy and improve data integrity. It divides large tables into smaller ones, linked by relationships. Common forms include 1NF, 2NF, and 3NF. Tip: don't dive too deep unless the interviewer asks for specific forms or examples. Question 11. What are some common software development methodologies? Here's how you can answer. Some common methodologies include Waterfall, Agile, and Scrum. Waterfall follows a linear approach, while Agile focuses on flexibility and continuous feedback. Scrum is an agile framework where teams work in short, iterative sprints to deliver incremental improvements. Tip: if applying for a software role, mention your preference for learning agile practices. Question 12. Can you explain the difference between front-end and back-end development? Here's how you can answer. Front-end development involves designing and building the user interface using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Back-end development deals with server-side logic, databases, and APIs using technologies like Python, PHP, or Java. Both work together to create a complete web application. Tip: relate your answer to any academic project you've done using similar technologies. Question 13. What is debugging and how do you approach it? Here's how you can answer. Debugging is the process of identifying and fixing errors in code. I usually start by reproducing the issue, then check for syntax or logical errors using print statements or debugging tools. Once I find the cause, I correct it and retest to ensure the program runs as expected. Tip: show that you approach debugging methodically rather than randomly changing code. Question 14. What are your strengths as a technical candidate? Here's how you can answer. My strengths include logical thinking, quick learning, and attention to detail. I enjoy solving problems and writing clean, efficient code. I'm also good at collaborating with others, which helps in team-based projects. Tip: support your strengths with a small example, like completing a challenging project successfully. Question 15. Why should we hire you as a fresher? Here's how you can answer. You should hire me because I have a solid understanding of technical fundamentals, a strong desire to learn, and the discipline to work hard. I may not have industry experience yet, but I'm passionate about applying my skills in real-world projects and growing with the team. Tip: express enthusiasm, adaptability, and willingness to learn. Qualities employers value in freshers. Final thoughts. Technical interviews for freshers are less about deep expertise and more about potential, problem solving, and attitude. Even if you can't answer every question perfectly, what matters is how you think through the problem. Employers appreciate curiosity, honesty, and a logical mindset. Before your interview, review the basics of your field, practice simple coding or technical exercises, and prepare short explanations for your academic projects. Stay confident, speak clearly, and never hesitate to admit when you don't know something. Then add that you're eager to learn it. With the right preparation and mindset, you can turn your first technical interview into a great opportunity to begin a successful and rewarding career in technology.